Assalamualaikum, Madam. We, Nadiah, Ain and Faiqah, the members from Group 8, would like to present our slide for subtopic Kingdom Plantae entitled Division of Angiosperm in Chapter 8, which is Biodiversity. During my talk today, I provide you with some background on angiosperm and why it is important or crucial in our life. First and foremost, the word angiosperms are formed from the words angion, means vessel, meanwhile the word sperma means seed. Angiosperms are plants that produce flowers and bear their seeds in fruits. They are the largest and most diverse group within the kingdom Plantae, with about 200,000 species. Angiosperms represent approximately 80% of all non-living green plants. Examples range from the common dandelions and grasses to the ancient magnolias and highly evolved orchids. Angiosperms also comprise the vast majority of all plant foods we eat, including grains, beans, fruits such as tomatoes, vegetables, and most nuts.
So next, this is the angiosperm flower structure. In angiosperm flower structure, there is reproductive parts, which is divided into two, which is male flower part and female flower part. And the male flower part includes anther and filament, while female flower parts it comprises stigma, stele, pollen tube, ovary, and ovule.
So let us take a look at an example of angiosperm. In this slide, there are 5 examples that can be seen, which is magnolia, peony, hydrangea, watermelon, and durian. For my dear friends, right now, I'm assuming that you are lost in your own world while listening to my explanation, thinking on why we are learning about angiosperm. So, here is the reasons why. Firstly, angiosperm is a major source of food for humans and animals, for example, wheat, barley, and rice. Next, angiosperm is also commonly used as herbs and spices or food flavoring, for example, cinnamon flavor from cinnamon tree and vanilla flavors, which is widely used in most of pastries from vanilla orchids. Third, it is also very beneficial to chemical industry as it can be turned to cosmetics, adhesives, paints, soaps, and fragrances. For instance, roses and lavenders are used to make perfume and essential oils. Fourth, some of them are useful for textile making industry. For example, cotton from cotton flower plant and linen from fibers of the flax plant. Finally, angiosperm is widely used in pharmaceutical to produce medication for several diseases. For example, aspirin comes from bark of willow tree and digitalis. Herbicide is produced from a foxglove flower.
Now I will explain about the history of vanilla extract. The history of vanilla extract started in Mexico, where Mayan people enjoyed and traded it for years before the arrival of Cortes and his conquistadors in the 16th century. After the conquering, they tasted vanilla and bring vanilla beans back to Europe, where royals, bakers, and perfume makers started to ask for more of this magical flowering tasting machine, as they did with many foods. Europeans increased their access to vanilla and reinforcing combination of science, conquest, and forced labors. It was a young slave working in the French colony, the 12-year-old Edmond Albius, who realized that the vanilla plant could be pollinated only by hand, while at the same time a Belgian scientist, Charles Morin, discovered a solitary species of bee native to Mexico that pollinate the Mexican vanilla plants in similar way like Edmond. Hand pollination technique is still used today in process that labor intensive. It precipitated a massive rise in vanilla production that allowed chefs around Europe to start experimenting with new uses for vanilla. They made ice cream, pastries, and candies. This increased demand for vanilla as it only flowers for one day. In late 19th century, scientists started extract vanilla and later producing vanillin. The sweet aroma of vanillin is sourced from cheaper sources like wood pulp and clove oil. Now vanilla is in our spa ventilation systems, hand soaps, and most important, our favorite foods.
Okay, next, I will explain how essential oils are made. As we know that essential oils are usually used for skin healing and anxiety reducing, dental, pain relieving, and etc. Here, this video will explain to us how essential oils are being made.
Most essential oils are produced by steam distillation. Steam distillation was invented around 1000 AD by Persian alchemist and healer Avicenna. It has been practiced for thousands of years since then, and is still one of the best ways to take freshly harvested or dried plants and extract pure essential oil.
Here the main point that the video said that the dried plants will abstract into the essential oil. And stop here. Okay, we can see that the video said biomass follow of tiny sacs contain essential oil. So the main point here that the video said biomass is follow of tiny sacs.
When the water boils, the steam passes up into the chamber. As the steam passes through the biomass, the temperature causes the tiny sacs to burst open, releasing the essential oil. The essential oil rises up with the steam, and together the oil and steam pass into a tube. This tube passes through a cold condensing chamber. The cold temperature changes the steam back into liquid, which drips out of the tube.
So, for the conclusion from this video, we can learn that most of essential oil is made by dried plants such as basil, cinnamon, lavender, jasmine, and etc.
So for the next video, I will be explaining about the cotton and how to change cotton to yarn. Cotton plant need a lot of sunshine and typically tropical climate with medium rain. When cotton matures, it bursts open and the snow white cotton fibers exposed and being harvested and drawn into yarn. But first, we need to remove the seeds from the soft and fluffy part. That can be done manually or with machines. The process is called ginning. The fibers are taken to next step. Next step is spinning. Spinning is processed to make yarns from the fiber, and then from the fiber, yarns are produced and fabric can be made. The spinning process can be done by the machines or traditional tools. So next is the taxonomy chart of Angiosperm. First of all, it is under a domain Eukarya and then divided into four: Protista, fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. And then Plantae including Phanerogame, flowering plants, and Cryptogame, non-flowering plants. And then for Phanerogame, it has Angiosperm that bear seed in fruit and Gymnosperm that produce naked seeds, which is do not bear seed in fruit. And then for Angiospermae, our studied phylum comprises monocotyledon and dicotyledon. Next, we have the example taxonomy hierarchy of Angiosperm plants. Here we have three Angiosperm plants, which is roseplant, wheat, and banana. Three of them have the same kingdom, which is Plantae, and the same phylum, which is Angiosperm. For roseplant, we have the class Dicotyledon, order Rosales, family Rosaceae, genus Rosa, and species Indica that make the scientific name of roseplant is Rosa indica. And then for wheat, we have the class of Monocotyledon for the order Poales and family Poaceae, genus Triticum, and species Aestivum that make the scientific name of wheat Triticum aestivum. So next we have banana for the class of Monocotyledon and the order Zingiberalis, family Musaceae, and genus Musa, and the species Balbisiana, and that make the scientific name of banana Musa balbisiana.
Okay, next, I will explain how science and Al-Quran are connected. We take from Surah Al-An'am, verse 141. So here, the verse said that it is He who has brought it into being gardens, the tree lies and untree lies, and the palm trees and crops, all varying in taste, and the olive and pomegranates, all resembling one another, and yet so different. Eat of their fruits when they come to fruition, and pay his due on the day of harvesting. and do not exceed the proper limits, for he does not love those who exceed the proper limits.
This verse addresses the issue of biodiversity through the same plants growing wild and cultivated as trees, shrubs, and herbs. Here the instruction was to eat the ripe fruits and pay the due of it in the day of harvesting without being excessive, means that to pay zakah and do not exceed the proper limit.
The second evidence that Al-Quran related to our studies that is in Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 47. In this verse, Allah said that we set up the scales of justice on the day of resurrection. Then no soul is treated unjustly in anything. Even though there be the weight of a mustard seed, we will bring it, we show it in their live film, and the reckoners suffice us. So we can see that here that in this verse, Allah reports that every soul will be accounted with justice. Even if there is a charge as light as the weight of a grain of mustard, it will be counted too. The mustard seed here is used as a clear example of fine grains. So, last but not least, we take verse from Surah As-Safa. Allah said that, and we caused to grow over him a spreading God's plan. So, the explanation from this verse explains that it is indicate that God grew a tree of a pumpkin in the area where Prophet Yunus was thrown out from the abdomen of the whales. The interpretation of the verse is that pumpkin is a fast-growing plant and nutritionally rich. It is an excellent plant for Prophet Yunus, who spent long time with fear, hunger, and thirst inside the huge sea mammal. Pumpkin is a creeping plant and not a tree. The description in the verse may reflect supported growth of. Here, pumpkin is a creeping plant and not a tree. The description in the verse may reflect supported growth or giant appearance for the pumpkin. So for last, here are a few references that we refer for our slide. So thank you. Have a nice day. That's all from us.